Whether you're new to pool and practicing the basics, or a more experienced player performing drills to improve your shot making and positional play, the Drill Partner is perfect.
Welcome back to another episode of Dogging It. I'm Molina Mike, and hopefully you guys are enjoying your holiday time before the chaos that is, or I guess it's already chaotic. Let me know in the chat if you guys can hear me and see me all right as I try to get set up. Although it's not my best start to a show by any means. This computer is giving me a hard time, and I sound old when I say that, by the way. So, um, anyhow, hopefully everyone's doing all right. We got a great guest that I'm excited to bring on. Long overdue, and hopefully it'll be the start of doing more things when it comes to the women's side of the game and covering more things in pool in general, which is what I love doing. So um, let me see if we got somebody. John says hello. Hopefully, I'm not ready for the Derby, John. I don't even want to think about next year yet. I know it's coming, and I'm already dreading it. We got some big news coming up, by the way, on the note of next year. So, um, anyhow, while everyone kind of trickles in, I'll go ahead and bring in our guest. She's been following her for quite a long time. Plays in a ton of events. WPBA player, amongst other things. I heard she's got a day job as well, so that's shocking for a pool player. But let's bring her on in. Shanelle Lorraine. Shanelle, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing
Good.
great. I appreciate you making time for it. Where are you based out of, Chanel?
I'm in Central Florida right now, Orlando. So this is where I call home. I've been here for quite some time now, and I absolutely love it. It's nice and sunny outside.
I
Not
was gonna
sure
say, yeah.
the weather where you're at, but it is beautiful out here right now.
I'm similar to you, and this is why I'm rocking the tank top because I'm in South Texas, so I'm right on the Gulf, and so we land of humidity and 75-degree weather and all those things, which I love.
Same here, same here. I love it.
Although the humidity not so much because it can be a little brutal, especially like come June, July, around that time.
It
So.
can be brutal, but I'd rather take it versus, the dry heat. So yeah, take a moisture over Arizona or Vegas.
So you're in Orlando. The Mosconi Cup just ended. What was it like having that big event in the place you call home?
Oh my goodness. As soon as I heard it was going to be in Orlando, I knew that I just had to be there. I've always wanted to come to the Mosconi or attend Mosconi Cup, and I wasn't going to let the opportunity pass me by. So as soon as the tickets went unsold, I was on top of it. I tried to be on top of it anyhow. They all sold out on my end. And unfortunately, I could not get tickets myself, but I had a friend that was able to get them. And so I was able to go. I was really happy to attend. It was nice. It was awesome having everybody in town, in my hometown, not having to travel. Got to sleep in my house. I didn't have to go to
I'm real
any
bitter right now
hotels,
hearing all
but
these things. I'm
yeah.
real salty hearing all this right now.
Don't be salty, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Did you have a good time in Central Florida?
It was great. I hadn't been to Florida since I was a kid. Really, I remember going to like Pensacola when I was younger for like a family trip, but this was like well over 30 years ago, I guess, at this point. And so it had been quite some time, and there really hadn't been like anything decent in that part of the country for me to travel to. I mean, I got invited, I think, a couple years ago to a tournament out at, I don't remember the pool room, but I think it was one of Mary Ann's tournaments, and I didn't get to make it out there. But I was glad to be out there. I was a little skeptical because I didn't know what to expect. And, as you get older, you don't like change so much. And Vegas has kind of become, a little bit part of the routine. But I got to be
You're
honest,
not that.
I loved it. I loved it out there.
Oh, good. And you're not that old. Come on.
I'm,
But
I'm feeling it as the weather comes in. That's for sure.
you're feeling it as the weather
Yeah.
comes in. That's too
Yeah.
funny. No, I loved having it here. Hopefully you'll be back with more Mosconi Cups here in Orlando. Hopefully they're planning more in the future. But I absolutely loved having it here. Hopefully everybody did. The crowd was amazing, the energy, so exciting. I can imagine it's probably that way everywhere you go for Mosconi Cup, but just being there and witnessing it. If you haven't been and you're a pool fan, I highly recommend it. You must
Was it
do it at
your
least once
first
in your
time?
lifetime. Yeah, it was my first time.
Yeah, so that's pretty exciting. I remember my first time was in Vegas, and like you, I mean, you kind of get a little bit of the vibe on TV, but it's nothing like being there in person and just feeling it. Like you get to feel the
The
tension, the excitement, the fans, all that stuff.
Yeah, the energy, the players, like you said, you can definitely see it on TV, but being there is definitely next level. And just like being able to witness the interaction of the players with the fans is pretty special. I thought that was really cool. I loved how Jason Shaw got the crowd riled up, and he's such an entertainer. It was awesome to witness, and all the other players get into it as well. And for it to be such like a serious event, yet probably one of the obviously the loudest, most distracting,
Yeah.
most distractions around, type of events. It just makes for a great combination.
Do y'all got any kind of that kind of vibe at all to any extent in the women's game? In the women's game, whenever you travel to any part of the world,
We definitely have spectators come out, some fans come out. Obviously, family and friends will come out, but there isn't anything quite like the Mosconi Cup, I think, anywhere. It would be cool to have an event like that, but just don't. Right now, we don't have anything like that in the WPBA. It's more. It's not as loud, obviously. There aren't people yelling at you while you're trying to shoot or, trying to make obvious distractions so that you
yeah.
miss. We don't have any of that. It's all very professional. And while there's talking and there's music playing and it's still a good time, there just isn't that, the same sense of the crowd rooting for one side or another and yelling at you as you're trying to get in stroke.
Do you think you could handle the heat if you were in an environment
Oh
like that?
goodness, I definitely would surely try. Handling it, I think, is another thing in itself. I feel like with pool, you're put into so many different types of pressure situations,
Right.
whether it be if you play on league or by yourself, or at a professional event or an event that's, live. There are all sorts of different pressures that come into play. So I think like Mosconi Cup, for the top guys that are out there that are on the team, I think that's just like another sort of added pressure that you'd have to learn how to overcome and deal with. And I would think like, I would probably do all the same things that I do to come overcome all the pressures that I do now as it is, like
Like what?
breath
Let's hear.
work.
Yeah. Let's
I
hear
do
it.
a lot of breath work and meditation. Um, when I'm not practicing, obviously practicing helps, with the
Yeah.
confidence and, your stroke, making sure that you can execute what you're trying to. But I think, the mental side of the game is such an important big part of it. And once you can execute, most of the shots, that's when, the mental part of the game comes into play and you really have to be strong there. So I do a lot of yoga. I do a lot of meditation. I listen to different nutritional podcasts to help out my mind and my body, just whatever it is that I can in order to constantly, better myself and my game. Um, and I'm always looking for new things. If you have any sort of ideas or ways to deal with pressure,
No, I'm gonna hit you
please
up
do
because
share.
I've been really focusing on the mental side of things. And I don't compete like you guys do, or you girls do, I should say. But like when it comes to meditating or affirmations or just proper breathing techniques or whatever, like I've been super focused on that, especially like in the last maybe like 6 months or so. It's kind of been more
What type
paramount.
what type of breathing techniques do you like to use?
It's not anything like, listen, it's not anything by the book. Okay, I'm still very much remedial when it
As
comes to
long as
that.
you're
But
breathing, I think that's
yeah.
important. As long as you're aware and cognizant of that in itself, a lot of people aren't even just aware of that, that breath is
Yeah.
super important while you play. Probably as is with everything and all other sports and games, but I think it's super important in pool.
Yeah, because I mean, you can get your heart going just so fast, and then it translates into like, perspiring and all these things. And it's like, I feel like breathing is just so vital to keeping everything as centered as it can be possibly. You know what I mean? Like, you're always going to be human and feel those emotions, but whatever you can do to kind of like limit those variables, I feel like is super big. Gabby's in the chat. She says she's speaking our language. Mike, Gabby knows because I've been hitting up Gabby for quite some time for like all things when it comes to the mental side of the game because it's so, I feel like it translates in so many aspects of life these days.
Surely does. Surely does. I was very shocked when I started doing yoga probably about 7 years now, 7 years ago, 8 years ago now. I didn't get into it for pool, but I'm very surprised at how it really translates to pool, just having like that super focus, staying present and making sure that you
Yeah.
are there mentally and physically. Obviously, you're there physically, but you're there in
Mhm.
that moment mentally, because if you're not, just like pool, you're not going to be able to do what you set your heart, your mind out to do. So,
Look, the game will be whatever it will be, but you want to put yourself like in the best possible scenario that you can, when you're out there competing. And I feel like, and I've seen it more, especially this year more than ever, because I pay attention to like a lot of not just on the table stuff, but seeing players off the table. And you'll see them very aware of their breathing, in through their nose, out through their mouth or whatever. And just kind of like you can see their eyes being focused. And that they've been paying attention to that side of it. And they're trying to like apply it in those high pressure moments, which is just, it's pretty inspiring to watch, to be honest with you.
it really is. It really, really is. Just things just as simple as like the double inhale. Have you ever heard of that before?
Let's see an example of
I'll
it while we're here.
do
Yeah,
elaborate, right? Well,
yeah, yeah.
I listened to Andrew Huberman on the Huberman Lab, and he talks about breath work, on some of his different podcasts. And one that really caught my attention is just one really simple, quick one that anybody can use. It's not any like, it's not box breathing, it's not quick
I'm
fire
taking
breathing.
notes.
It's just a double inhale, and it's as simple as breathe in through your nose, and then you take a quick short breath in, and then you breathe out through your mouth
I like it.
slowly, like with thinly pursed lips. And what that does is really lets oxygen fill your lungs, which in turn, helps your brain work properly. And then with that extra inhale, it extra inflates your lungs so that, you can have that nice slow release through your pursed lips. And I think he even said that it's been statistically proven to lower your heart rate and bring you back to the moment, and keep you grounded so that, you can hopefully do what you're trying to.
Look, I love all these things when it comes to this side of it, and this is great that you're sharing some stuff like this, because I feel like the casual fan can also appreciate it as much as like the highest level competitor. Because we all feel these pressure moments, no matter what type of scenario that we're playing in, whether it's the Wednesday night bar league or in your case you're
So
playing
true.
WPBA events or whatever it may be.
That's right. There's always pressure in every sort of situation. It's funny. Um, yeah, people sometimes ask, how do you deal with that? And is it okay if I come and watch, or am I going to be a distraction? And is it okay if you're on the stream, or all of those extra added pressure? And whatever it is, I'm just like, you know what? Come on, bring it, because eventually I'm going to have to deal with it. It's only going to make me a better person, player, help me to deal with pressure, hopefully in a better way. So it's kind of like that tester out there. And the more you practice it, the better you'll become at
See, I feel like you need to share more of this stuff on your social media platforms, Chanel. Let's
it.
get the yoga involved. Let's get the stretching, the breathing, the nutrition, all these
Yes,
things. You
stretching
know,
super important. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
nutrition. Yeah, protein.
What's it like when you're on the road when it comes to your health and trying to eat well? Because that's something that I struggle with all the time whenever I'm living out of a
Yeah,
hotel.
it can be a problem for sure. One of my best travel tools or things that I bring with me is a little tiny egg maker. If you like
Egg maker.
eggs, then it works for you, boiled eggs. But yeah, I have a little baby egg maker. It holds two eggs, and it plugs right into the wall. So I buy whenever I get to any tour stop, the grocery store, I'll stop and get, a dozen eggs, some blueberries, some bananas, obviously water, some snacks, and we I usually room with Caroline Powell and Stephanie Mitchell, and we constantly make eggs. Whoever has
All
to,
right.
as we get,
Just keep
when
it
we
rolling.
get there, we keep it going, just in case somebody needs some protein before a match, because a boiled egg, it's not that much food, but it's just enough to like sustain you if you eat it like an hour before your match, or if even if you're not hungry, you don't want to become hungry during your match. So it's just enough sustenance, I think, to give you some nutrition, some mental clarity, keep you going. help curb your appetite if you're hungry during your match. All of that helps out. So little things like that. But after the tournament, it's a different story.
Game on, huh? Whatever, whatever,
Game
whatever will be,
on.
will be.
Whatever will be, will be. And I try to look for the delicious spots in whatever part of the world or country that I'm in. So I'm excited, obviously, to try. And usually we're planning ahead of time when we're boiling our eggs.
See, that's the problem is that I don't plan when it comes to that side of things. I'll go pick up like some bananas and stuff just to kind
Oh,
of
that's
keep some
good.
gas in the tank, things like that.
Yeah.
I'm not a big boiled egg guy, but I can see the protein and appreciate it. I don't know. I'll have to give it
Yeah.
a swing. I'll keep an open mind to it.
Yeah, maybe try it out, see how you feel.
Yeah. I feel like there's these moments where, especially during my normal day, where like I'll work out in the morning and then I'll have a few hours off and then I'll go back and work out again in the afternoon. But like I don't want to eat too heavy. I don't want to be bogged down. I don't want to
No.
feel full, and I want just that like enough to get me the power and motivation that I need, and that'll apply when you're playing as well. It sounds like.
Yeah, tournament days, it's kind of funny if we start. I remember one day, just this past weekend, we started at 9 a.m. or 9:30, and then you might play, again, super late in the afternoon. But like you said, I don't want a heavy meal. I don't want anything that's going to drag me down or make me sleepy or tired. I know all the players are
That's
different.
not
Some
good.
people like a good meal, but
Yeah.
for me, it's just going to make me tired and not able to move around the table as much or as easy, I feel. And it's nice to have those snacks, even like, high protein yogurt, low sugar type of things. Those are some of my snacks that I like to grab.
Look, we're gonna get more tips from Chanel for the page, so that way you guys can focus on all things nutrition, on how to better yourself. I feel like it's just super valuable information that you can enlighten the pool world on, Chanel.
Happy to help any way I can.
Let's talk WPBA. You're in Orlando right now, but you just came from bitter cold Wisconsin. I was up there for a couple of days, not as far north as you were, but I hear the weather was pretty intense out there.
Oh my goodness, the weather was so cold. I think it was -9 was the low while I was there, below 9 and or -9. And I think I went outside in -2 degree weather, but I stayed inside for the most part. The
All right,
place
no
that we
way.
played in, the place that we played in, it was nice because it was connected to the tournament room. So the hotel, um, you just had a nice little long walkway to the tournament room, which was made it convenient so you didn't have to go outside.
That's valuable because look, I love staying on site. You can also go and like decompress and disconnect for a little bit whenever you need to without having to, catch an Uber or whatever it may be or getting the rental,
Right.
especially when it's -9, because if it's -9, my ass ain't going anywhere. I'm staying wherever the heater's at. That's for sure because I can't I'm from the south.
Right. Yes, I am known to travel with a heating pad and some, a hand warmer, heater. I get cold very easy, so whatever I can do to help with the comfort, while playing is that's what I do. I'll bring things just to help out.
It's interesting you mentioned the hand warmer because it was just last week whenever I was in Wisconsin that I was talking with someone and they mentioned like hand warmers are so important for pool players, and I never thought about it before. But then it made sense because it's usually so cold in the venue that having the hand
Yes.
warmer could be massively valuable for you.
It truly is. I thought that I was the only one, so it really does make me happy to hear that I'm not the only oddball out there that has a hand warmer, rechargeable battery pack in my pool case.
That's what
But
they
I
said.
do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I keep it, it doubles as a phone charger as well, but I mostly use it for the hand warming bit. But yeah, even in Florida, the pool halls, they keep it pretty cold wherever you go. So that's a must travel with item for me.
What was the event like for you? What was the competition like?
Oh.
The lady from where was she from? Sweden or something won the event. I can't remember her name for the life of me.
Boyana Sharitz is her name,
A
and
beautiful name.
she it is, and she's a
Yeah.
beautiful girl as well. And she is a phenomenal player. I had the absolute pleasure, well, kind of pleasure, of watching her play. I say kinda only because she was my first opponent. So I got to watch her up close and personal. But her stroke just so smooth. She just go, runs racks so effortlessly, and I really, really enjoyed watching her play. She took a monster field down. There were people from all over the world. We had players from Taiwan, Australia. As you know, I'm sure Pia Filler was there, Margaret Fefilova, Christina Tkach. There was Chihiro. We had players from everywhere, and it was one of the biggest fields that we had as far as top players go, and she really did. She did an amazing job. You know just staying focused and playing her game. I think her only loss that she had was, the semifinal against Kristina Zlateva.
He's
And
playing great as
she
well.
had yeah, she's playing amazing. She had a wonderful event as well. She was undefeated all tournament long up until that point, and she's knocking on the door of that championship win for sure. I think she's had three or four second place finishes this year. Have to double check those numbers, but she's knocking on that door, and I'm sure she'll be in that first place spot sooner than later on.
Yeah, it's been great seeing some of these girls kind of make that transition into getting that monkey off their back. You saw it with Tkach this year, winning the world championship and snapping off a few WPBA events. And I agree with you when it comes to Christina Zlateva because she's been in that semifinal kind of range for pretty consistently all year long. She's super steady.
Ah.
Um, she's always on the business end of the tournaments, which is great. And correct me if I'm wrong, but did she come through qualifiers for that event? Because I don't recall her being a WPBA player beforehand, or maybe I'm mistaken.
Boyana had to come through stage one. Yeah, I
Yeah.
want to say that this was her first event. I'm pretty sure she got a promoter spot, but don't quote me on that. I'm not too certain. Um, I've attended almost all of the WPBA events this year, and the only one that I was not at was Borderline Billiards. And I was
Janet's room.
really sad to admit, yeah, Janet's room. I
Yeah.
absolutely love Janet and Borderline Billiards. I didn't get the chance to see her new place. It was just, little ways away from her old place, but I'm looking forward to it. I think that we're planning on having another event in May there this year. Not it's not for certain yet, but I'm pretty sure that that's what they're looking at.
So I got the pleasure of meeting Janet last week for the first time, and I'm pretty sure I saw her at the Mosconi Cup. But that
Yeah,
event
she
was
was there.
just super hectic and just everyone's kind of bouncing around. I'm pretty sure I saw you out there as well.
Yep.
We didn't get to meet though, but it was Janet was just an absolute pleasure to speak with, and we got to conversate a little bit on camera about a few things, and she was just an absolute joy. And there's like so many. This is why I feel like it's important to cover more stuff in the women's game because as I talk to more women players, there's like so many great stories within that group of competitors, and I love hearing more about it.
Yeah, there is. There's so many amazing, wonderful women players out there. And, I'm really excited to see there's so many up and coming new players as well. Um, even the young ones, Jordan Helfrey. I know Savannah Easton and Sophia Mast. It's all super exciting to watch everyone compete at such a high level and really raise the bar of competition all around. I'm seeing it, on the women's side and obviously in the juniors as well as the guys,
Yeah.
the guys pro tour. So it's really exciting. Good time for pool right now.
No, it is, and I couldn't echo it even more than what you said. I mean, it's great being able to follow these young players from a couple years ago until now, and seeing some of their progress, like a Savannah or Sophia or even Jordan. She had a great finish at Junior Nationals this year as well. But it's been cool from like seeing them like as an adult. You see them at first and you're like, oh, it's a cute kid playing pool. That's great. And then they're
Right.
on the table, and then you're
Yeah.
like, oh, wait a minute, they can play like extremely well pool. It's not just
Oh,
like
this
little
one's
kids
about to
playing
whip
pool.
up on me. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah,
been
for
great. It's
sure.
awesome seeing them like process pressures, and then you see them go through
Yes.
challenges, or they lose to a big player one year, then the next year they come back and have a big signature win, and it's just
Right.
great following their stories and their progress as well.
It really is. Yeah, just the changes throughout, even it is. It really is exciting to see them grow, grow into the sport as they grow. So I know everybody's getting older, but with the young ones, you can definitely see their growth exponentially, um,
How,
r right in front of your very own eyes, right?
how long have you been playing pool, Chanel? How long have you been competing on the WPBA?
Oh my goodness. Wow. I've been playing pool for a really long time now. I first picked up a pool cue, banging balls around when I got to Central Florida when I was 18 years old. Just started, actually, I picked up a job at a place called the Monte Cristo Club. And we had a pool table in the back room. It was where the Magic used to play over at the old Amway Center.
The
And
Magic as in Orlando Magic. Is that what you're saying?
yes, yes,
Okay, yeah,
yes.
just throwing that in
The
there. Just the
Magic,
NBA
the
team. Yeah,
Orlando, yes, the NBA team, Orlando
yeah.
Magic. So I worked at this private cigar bar there. And I did a number of things throughout college while I worked there, from hostess to sell memberships, sold cigars, and also cocktail served. But while I was there at the beginning, I would hit some balls in the back with some members, and one of them being Dr. J. I don't know if you're familiar with basketball, but Julius
Yeah,
Irving,
of
um,
course. Yeah.
he's amazing, amazing guy, amazing person, amazing player, obviously. But he was back there and he would show me some things along with some other members. So that really sparked an interest for me. And so I started playing in between classes. We had a bar on campus called Wackadoos. So I would play in between classes, and there was a guy that walked by, and he was like, "Hey, you should play for the UCF pool team." And at that point, I had no clue that we even had a pool team. So he happened to be the UCF pool team coach, and I ended up playing for UCF while I was there. Still, I feel like with no like true knowledge and skill of the game, just really enjoying it and loving it and being in the pool hall. I ended up hanging out at a place called Pro Billiards back in the day. And there was a whole lot of great players that came through there. But yeah, just played recreationally throughout college. And then right after I graduated, I picked up a couple of jobs. So it really didn't allow time for much time to play pool at night. So I actually stopped playing for about a year and a half, I think maybe even close to 2 years. And then I got a call out of the blue from Charlie Williams. I don't know if you're familiar with
Uh,
Charlie.
yeah,
He
remember Charlie.
had a company called Dragon Promotions, which did a lot of events overseas in Asia. And he asked me if I was still playing. And at that point, I was not. And he had a bright idea to coach me for the next few weeks, and then said, I'll fly you over to Korea and put you in this live nationally televised event, and let's see how you do. So I said,
So,
hey, sounds
so
like a
wait a
great
minute. So
opportunity.
you haven't played in a year and a half. First of all, you
Right.
learned from Dr. J, which I've talked to many players. No one's got as cool of a story as that getting introduced to pool. But I digress.
Yeah.
Then that transitions into taking a break for a year and a half, and then, by the
Yeah.
way, let me coach you for 2 weeks before I fly you overseas to
No,
go and
it was
compete on
probably like
television.
4 or 5 weeks, not 2 weeks. So, just a little
Oh
bit
yeah,
longer.
that's a big difference. Big difference. A month versus 2 weeks. That's crazy.
Yes, yeah, it was real crazy. And I was in shock that I was even given the opportunity or asked to be a part of it, but there was no way that I was going to turn it down.
No.
So, you given opportunities like that, you just say yes and you go with it and you learn as much as possible. And Charlie Williams, the great player that he is, a part of the Mosconi Cup team in the past,
Mhm.
he was willing to coach me for free. So I said, yes, I will take your lessons and learn all that I can. And a nice trip to Korea sounds awesome. So I took him up on the offer and went over there. And, you know, a miracle happened. I really feel. I really feel like a miracle happened because my first match I played, I was so nervous. My heart was just, I felt like everybody could see it um, pounding out of my chest. But I had to play Jeanette Lee, in
Wait a minute, wait a minute,
Korea.
wait. Time out. So this was your first time playing internationally,
My
your first
very
time
first,
playing like professional type players, and you're playing the Black Widow on TV in Korea. Like,
yes,
jump on
yes.
in.
Right, here you go. Let's
Yeah.
drop you in and see how you do, right? So yeah, by some miracle, I think it was a short race miracle for sure. I ended up beating Jeanette, and that was on live, national television in Asia. And I think things just kind of really blew up overnight. And I really enjoy playing, my whole life. So I just figured I'd stick with this and learn more, see how much I can learn from Charlie. And he was my coach for a good, 7, 8 years. And I continued to do events with him and, um, learn different things throughout the years. I've had a wonderful time playing. But fast forward to today, I I guess there's a lot of time in between there, but I continue to play after the Dragon Promotions events and everything. I continue to play pool, played on the Florida Women's Tour, the Tiger Tour it's called now, used to be Flamingo, I believe. And I ended up winning a qualifier spot to compete in the WPBA, and that was in 2018. So my first event for the WPBA was 2019. And then COVID happened. So we really didn't have too many events in 2020 and 2021. So really just for the past couple of years, I've been trying to attend as many events as possible and practice and play as much as possible and just try to better my game and continually work on myself. So hopefully, I feel like I'm headed in the right direction. I feel like my game's coming along.
Yeah.
Um, it's really exciting to be a part of pool and to continue to play. I really enjoy it. So continue to do it.
What's it been like just seeing the consistency as far as the tour goes and all these great events happening all year long all across the country?
It is awesome seeing the consistency and the amount of events. I think when I first joined the tour, we were only having maybe 3 events a year, 3 to 4 events a year. And now, just this past year, I want to say we had 12 events, including a special event that we did in New Hampshire. Wasn't for ranking or points, but it was more or less to get, excitement and involve ourselves in Bike Week and have another special added money event for the WPBA players. And this upcoming year is super exciting. Our first event is going to be over at, I believe, Iron City Billiards at the end of January. And after that, I want to say that we have about another 12 to 13 events scheduled for this year as well, including the Women's World 8 Ball Championship. The WPBA just got will be one of the special events that we're hosting in July.
I heard
Yeah,
about that event. I saw the flyer the other day on the WPBA website. I hear that it's going to be six figures for a prize fund, which is awesome.
amazing.
But it being in Wisconsin, I don't know how I feel about that, Chanel. I'll just be honest with you. I
You
like,
know,
world
you're just gonna
championship.
have to bring your hand warmer and your heating pad and suck it up. No, just kidding.
Okay. Well, I think it's in July, so hopefully it'll be like decent weather, not too tough one way or the other. But
Right?
um, I've never been to a WPBA event, at least I don't think. But maybe I'll have to make it out next year for the World Championship. I love a World Championship, and there's something just super sacred about it that I just can appreciate as a fan for sure.
Yeah, there'll be top players from all over the world, and we would absolutely love to have you.
Yeah, for sure. The WPBA is actually how I probably started becoming a fan of pool, like outside of
Really?
watching major tournaments online. Yeah, because I can remember like hearing about these events when I was maybe like 2021, first getting introduced into professional pool and seeing things like on ESPN or whatever. And then I started hearing about these events happening in Oklahoma. And of course, I'm from South Texas. So I was like, man, Oklahoma, is good, maybe 10, 12 hours away, but it's not too bad being in Texas because everything's far in Texas, right? But it being like so close, I was like, man, one day I want to make it out. Never in my wildest dreams would I have imagined being able to see all these cool events that I get to go and be a part of. But yeah, women's pool's always been a huge part and really the roots of how all this chaos got started. I don't think I've ever told that story before. So
No, that's awesome. I loved it. Actually, I was really curious about that, like how you got into doing the podcast that you have now and your involvement and everything. I was curious, so I'm glad that I got to hear a little bit about it. But
well,
what?
it's like you just jump on in. I've told this to friends of mine and my personal friends, they know, but like I'm very much an introvert by nature, and so people kind of laugh when I say that because they're like they see me on the doing the show and all this and talking with different people. And look, we talked about breathing techniques. I can't tell you how many times I've taken like a big deep breath right before we start and just try to focus on it because that's like my pressure. You know what I mean? Um,
Sure.
but
I
like
can't imagine that you feel pressure anymore right before a big interview or anything like that. I imagine that you've
no, I
done
do.
so many.
No,
You
no,
do.
no, for sure. Yeah, I mean, like look, I told you this before we started, but I don't prep a whole lot for better or worse, and I just kind
Sure.
of jump on in, and I don't know how it translates, and I've certainly never had any kind of like formal training or anything like that, but I like it to be a conversation. But it's kind of like you getting introduced or going and playing, in Korea. It's like one day it just kind of happened, and then you jump on in. All of a sudden,
Right.
you got this, head of this company on here or this world champion on here, and it's kind of surreal at times, but you just figure it out, right? You just go out there and do the best you can, and
That's
sometimes you'll
right.
fall, sometimes you're gonna fly, and that's just part of life, right?
Really is. And I think that's a whole bit, the main part of pool is just being able to get out there and put yourself in the box or in the arena or on the table because most people won't even try. So
Yeah.
you're gonna fail at times, you're gonna win at times, you're gonna succeed and think different things are gonna happen, but it's just as long as you take, one step in front of the other and keep on going, know what makes you feel alive and roll with
Yes.
that, right?
Man, I couldn't exclamate that anymore because that's such an awesome attitude to have. And I'd rather try and fail than to not try and wonder and have regret and think about while I'm at the house, like, man, I wish I would have done this or done that. And I can't tell you
Right?
like how many times that I've gone somewhere where I literally had no idea what I was going to do or what was going to happen, or maybe things changed last minute and I'm like a little discouraged, but I still went, and it ends up being, just a snowball effect in a positive way of
Right.
other things that can happen, for whatever you're doing. So that's an awesome attitude.
Yeah, I think I don't know, it's definitely helped get me to where I am today. And if something doesn't work out, then you just pivot or you take a different direction. But for the moment, I'm really enjoying it, enjoying the journey. All of that, that comes with it. And it's really been an amazing one getting to travel to all of these different places that I get to go and meet so many wonderful people and amazing professionals and pool players. It really, really has been a wonderful ride. Looking forward
What's
to all, the rest of it.
what's been the best place you've been to so far that you've
Oh,
enjoyed in pool?
in pool, the best place. So that's such a tough question. For me, for specifically for the WPBA events, my most favorite tournament, and I think probably a lot of other girls would tell you the same, is Soaring Eagle. Soaring Eagle over there, I think it's in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, close to it. It's just the casino, the whole vibe that they have over there. They treat us really nice. It's such a nice venue, and the level of competition that comes out to play is top notch. So I think that's got to be like my favorite event for the WPBA tour stops. It's pretty consistent for the past couple of years. It's been my favorite.
I can appreciate going to the casino for an event, especially if we're staying on site. It just makes life a little easy.
Yes.
But you're probably going to lose a few hundred depending if wander off at night or something. But
You know,
that's
some
part of it.
some girls do, but some of them make money. You never know, right? That's a part of
There you
it.
go. Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So, what's your schedule like for next year as far as competing? And how do you find balance? Because I know you mentioned you have a day job as well. So like, how do you
Yeah.
figure all that out?
You know, I'm really blessed with the people that I work for, the company that I work for. I've been with them probably for about the past 15 years. And before that, the owners of my company, they were actually the ones that originally hired me out of college to work for another company. So they have been kind of involved along the way throughout my whole pool career, even starting with my first event back in Korea. Um, at that point, I think my boss didn't even know that I played pool, but he's always been the type of boss that's, whatever your life dreams are, whatever your goals, whatever your passions, go out and get them. And as long as I'm getting my work done, doing, the best job that I possibly can while I'm at home, as well as while I'm away over at tournaments. I still work. I answer phone calls and emails while I'm away at tournaments and traveling. I'm lucky that I have a job that I can do that.
Yeah.
So it really makes for a perfect situation for me to be able to travel and attend tournaments and still work while I'm either at home or away. Um, I think just as long as I take care of things and do what I need to for my job, then I should be able to continue to do both. Yeah.
What's your support system like within the industry, Chanel? I know you got a couple sponsors as well.
Yeah. So, Eastern Billiards has been good to me. Gary and Ruth Lucchese. They are a supply store here in Central Florida. They used to have a shop out of Kissimmee, and unfortunately, their store had a fire. And I don't know if you recall that or had heard about
Yeah, I
it, but
remember.
it burnt down, and they decided not to open up a storefront again. So right now, they are selling. Andy cloth as well as some How products out of their home. So if anybody is looking for Andy cloth or How products, you can reach out to them directly at Eastern Billiards, or Gary Lucchese or Ruth Lucchese, and or can reach out to me. But they help me out as with my tournament entries, as well as I have. How, like I said, How and Andy Cloth under Eastern Billiards, and then a couple of a private sponsor, John Shiflett. He helps me out from time to time, along with some other people. So it's nice to
John's a
have
great guy.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
he really is. He really is a great guy. I know he's helped out players along the way, and yeah, it's really nice to have the added, support. But by no means am I quitting my day job anytime soon.
Yeah, I can imagine. Listen, you got to have security. I completely get it. I met Gary and his wife last year at the trade show. They're great people. They were there with Andy and Jenny from How, and listen, How has been a big part of my journey over the last few years, and still sponsor the page from time to time. They're great people, and so yeah, feel free to reach out to Gary at Eastern Billiards. Right, it's Eastern Billiards, is that right? Just
It
let my
is
dog
Eastern
it.
Billiards. And yeah, it is Eastern
Yeah,
Billiards. And I think you also have another one of my same sponsors, Dr. V's Custom Shop. Feel like
my
I
man.
saw, yeah,
Let me
Dr.
see.
V's
I got
Custom Shop.
somewhere here. I got a big dealer case behind me, but
There
I
you
got a
go.
raffle. I got to raffle one of these things off for Dr. V's buddy, and so we'll be doing that pretty soon. And matter of fact, I got a call with Dr. V a little bit later on, so probably today. He's a great guy. I got the pleasure of meeting him last no Mosconi Cup. So just recently, it was great.
Yeah, great guy, pool player mindset, business mindset, engineer.
Yeah.
He's really smart guy, and he really puts a lot of time, effort, and energy into all of the products that he puts out. So they're obviously going to be top notch, and I really enjoyed playing with his break jump. And I also play with his chalk holder magnet as well. Keeps me from having to chase chalk around the table.
Look, those things are the real deal, Chanel. And I don't play a whole lot, but just from trying them out, those things, you're not going to lose it playing with those things. That's for sure.
No, that's right.
So give me some players to watch for next year for the WPBA, players that are on the radar, or maybe you think they're going to make a move next year.
Oh, wow. That's such a hard question. That's a loaded question. There's so many wonderful players out there on
Don't
the
give me the PC
WPBA that
answers.
are
No, we don't. We
right.
like
No, I'm serious though.
you're not
Chris,
gonna hurt
okay.
any feelings.
All right. No, I'm not trying to hurt any feelings, but being honest. All right. So here, I think. Players, well, obviously, people are already looking out for them right now, but I think that Christina Tkach, she's definitely one of my favorite players to watch, and she'll be taking down more events next year, along with, Margaret Fefilova and Fefilova Steyer, and Pia's been at our events, and she's right there up there with them. Being Hung, she's going to be taking down an event soon, along with Christina Zlateva.
You're just
There's
naming the
so
whole roster,
there's no,
Chanel.
no,
You're
no,
like
really though.
you're giving me
There's
like,
so many, there's so many top-notch players. I mean, don't I can't forget about like the Fishers, right? Allison
of
Fisher,
course.
Kelly Fisher, they play on tour. There's so many top players. I'm certain that I'm missing a whole group of them, but those are the ones, right? Just jump out right from the get-go. Any one of them can have the ability to win the tour stop. So it's exciting.
All right, we'll give
Yeah.
you a pass since it's your
You gotta
first time
follow
joining the
along. You
show. Yeah,
gotta give me a pass.
yeah. Look, we like asking tough questions every now and then, but that's listen. You're right though. There's a ton of great talent out there.
It
a
really
bunch of
is.
a bunch of girls you can make an argument for in any given tournament to make a run, or you think this may be the month.
Ashley Benoit. Have you seen Ashley Benoit play? She was just named one of the most improved, I guess, biggest jumps in ranking for the WPBA, followed right up with by Pia Filler.
Yeah,
So
I think
Ashley
Ashley
Benoit.
won. I think she won the Pennsylvania 8 ball championship recently, and I want to say she broke top 15, top 10, something like that. I'm probably off,
Wow.
but I'm yeah for WPBA. So a lot of great players, and it's cool. Like, listen, one time next year, I'm gonna make it out there at least once to a WPBA event and get to see all you girls compete live and in person. Like I said, I've met a lot of them. And they're all great. Hanging out with the Fishers last week, and Way and Savannah and
Yeah,
Janet, and
don't can't
it's a
forget
cool like
about Way.
it's cool like you girls have this really nice like community, and you guys are all so loving and friendly. And I don't know how I feel about that from a competitive standpoint, but you can tell you girls
Yeah.
they love each other and look out for one another.
Oh, we definitely do. The camaraderie is like none other. We are much different, I feel, at least I've been told anyway, since I don't play on the guys tour, that we are much different from the guys tour.
Accurate.
As far as like, the friendships and the camaraderie and just how close really all of the players are on the WPBA. However, don't be mistaken. When we're at the table, when we're at the table, it is all business. It is like murder.
I
At
love it.
least,
I love
yeah,
it.
yeah, it's like kill, 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 or whatever it is that you have in your mindset. But those girls know they are not out to be friends while on the table.
What are some of your personal goals for next year, Chanel?
Personal goals. I'd like to continue. Obviously, I will try to compete at all the WPBA tour stops. I'd like to do that. Um, as far as like placement wise goes and rankings go, it would be nice to say, oh, I'd, love to be number one. That would be great. But realistically speaking, if I could just move up in my rankings, right now I'm trying to get back into the top 32. My highest ranking spot was top 32, so or number 32. Definitely fallen down there on the list with a lot of the new incoming top talented players added to the WPBA. So it really is becoming a very, very tough field. So right now, that's my next goal is to just make it back to the top 32 in the WPBA.
What are you
Would be
going to do to
nice.
achieve that?
Practice real hard. I've just recently taken a couple of lessons. Um, are you familiar with Georgie
Oh,
from
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Bulgaria?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's a wonderful coach. If he's ever in your area and giving out lessons, I highly recommend him. He, funny thing about him, I want to say, he told me that he went to school over there, I want to say in Bulgaria, to become a coach, actually. So he went to a university, and I want to say the type of coach. I'm pretty sure he said it was badminton. So he actually has a degree to be a badminton coach, and I feel like he said that he just translated it to pool. You know, his real passion, his love of the game. So I think that really helps to make him um, somebody great to take lessons from, because he doesn't just have one mindset in oh, this is the way that you should do it, and has everybody do it the same. He really looks at the way it is that, you play, and sees what he can add to your game versus just trying to make it like his, which I really appreciate. And just after a couple of lessons with him, have really felt a big improvement with my game, my confidence, just being able to like feel the shots. Um, so I'm really looking forward to just practicing more as I have. I put a lot of hours in every single week, competing more, and seeing how I do in the tour stops.
I love that realistic response and the logic behind, trying to attack it. I mean, that's all you can do, right? You got to take steps today to do better tomorrow. I feel like in all aspects of life. And so, George is a player who I would say is knocking on the door for next year on the men's side of things, because he's been kind of doing this number here, going up and up and up.
That's right. I think I want to see, or I want to say that I saw his name in the um, points rankings to even possibly be considered for a Mosconi Cup next year.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's
Still
within that
early,
top
but
like 10.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah,
He's got all the game. Great guy from what I understand as well. So anyhow, listen, I appreciate you making time for us. I know it was kind of spur of the moment, and I hit you up. I've been wanting to do more stuff for women's pool, and hopefully this is the start. I'd like to probably preview and like do some recap stuff when it comes to WPBA events for next year. That's on my like short list of goals to go and accomplish. Because look, I love covering pool and all things pool, but I can't say I cover all things pool if all we're talking about is the men's side of things. So
that's
um,
true.
hopefully this is the beginning of doing more stuff when it comes to the women's game. And I appreciate you for coming on and being a part of it.
Well, thanks so very, very much for having me. Really appreciate it. Thanks for being so easy to talk to. And definitely, women's pool is out there, and you being a part of it and paying more attention to it, we really appreciate that. And there are really some exciting things to come, and matches and tournaments, new players in the women's competition, arena for pool. So it's a very exciting thing to look out for. And
Go Go
yeah,
give
we'd love
Shanelle
to
a
have you.
follow for all things nutrition, mental health. Follow her game, follow her the yoga, all those things she'll be posting, and we'll put some fire under her to get on that, so that way she can help you guys out with more tips and things to help you out. So anyhow, Chanel,
Absolutely
I
do.
I appreciate your time. Thanks so much. We'll let you get back to work. Thanks everybody for hanging out. Big
Thanks
shout
so
out to all of our
much.
sponsors, and we'll see all you guys real soon.